Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Esports Team Tournament, round number 4 for the PC side here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, I am delighted to say, as he joined me before 2 weeks ago for China, it is the Lord of the Tier 2 side for PC, it is Allflatious.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you once again, Kodiak, as always, for the dramatic introduction. Here we go for the Austrian Grand Prix, a very short track, the shortest track that we have on the calendar, so there'll be multiple opportunities for overtaking, and I'm very looking forward to this evening's race.
Absolutely, we're just waiting for the lobby to form and the joy of his drivers to join us, and then we will get this incredible race underway. What a tournament we have experienced so far. The Williams esports team being very strongly represented across the tiers. So as a quick reminder, for the Bahrain side, Xbox One was won by Veloci Surprise, PS4 by VGA Lucas, and it is Tino Nokarinen for the PC side that won the opening round. For China, 2 weeks ago, it was CRG Evo, the only man to get back-to-back wins, I will add, on the Xbox One side. Then it was Janu Opmir for the PS4 side, and then it was Karatin for the PC side. Monaco last week, as mentioned, CRG Evo getting that back-to-back win. Then it is Jim and Michael 53 for the PS4, and it was Tino again. So Tino getting 2 wins, but not back-to-back, although back-to-back for the Williams squad, you could say. And then, unfortunately, our Xbox One race for Austria for this week had to be postponed due to technical difficulties that could not be overcome on the night through no fault of anyone here at AOR. Sadly, these things do crop up from time to time, but the PS4 guys did get their race, and it was Williams Jim Roy that took the win for the PS4 platform. Will the Williams squad have another dominant win, or will they be fought by our respective esports teams? It looks like we have a near full representation this evening, so this is going to be good.
It does indeed. The Williams team, interestingly, just as I'm looking at the drivers in front of me, have actually made a change for this evening's race. We still have Tino Nokarinen, the winner of the last round indeed, but Isaac has also joined the team for this evening as well. So a little bit of a switch out then for the Williams team. Teams are able to, they have a roster of drivers. So I think Red Bull have about 5 drivers they can choose from, and those rosters were set at the start of the season, and teams can choose from those drivers. That's why you may see a bit of a change. I think Rapid Races, I'm seeing as well, have got a couple of new names, I think, to the race this evening. Of course, we'll go through all those once we get onto the race proper, but there are a couple of driver changes I can see in front of me for the race this evening.
Indeed, indeed. So once we get down to the actual lobby itself, I think we are just waiting for one of our drivers to join us, and indeed we will have a full representation. Whilst we're waiting for that, let's have a quick rundown of who is representing who this evening, as we can of course see the drivers in the lobby. For the Mercedes, or in the Mercedes, representing Team Shazoo, who have we got? It is Chromatic, that is in one of the Mercs. Who occupies the other? It is Shazoo Vito that occupies the other. Who mans the Red Bulls today?
The Red Bulls, we have Chem Bollock Bassi in one of them, and we have Yoni Tormala, the two from, I believe it was the same as the Chinese Grand Prix. Those two are racing here for the Red Bull team this evening. I can only see one Ferrari at the moment, and that may be the driver that we are waiting on, but Manuel Biancalila is in one of the Ferraris. These drivers, some of them only have 2 drivers on their roster, so it may well be that if one of the drivers can't make it, they just go with the one. And it looks like, as the lobby's about to load in now, that is what the situation is for the Ferrari team, which is ORL. ORL, I believe it is.
For the Ferrari squad is indeed the ORL squad. I just caught who the second Ferrari was as the time it counted down. It's Railgon that is in the second Ferrari. We have a full house. 2 representations of each team is with us for this race. Now, this is going to be interesting. It's, as Mr. Allflatious has already mentioned, it is a pretty short track, and it is going to be busy, which is absolutely fantastic. So we've mentioned Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. In the Williams team, as Allflatious gave it an overview. It is Timp and Isaac Price that occupy those particular seats. Let's get rid of that image and get rid of the background music now that we are in the session. No longer need you.
Oh. So for the sorry to cut across you there. In the Renault team, representing VP Gaming, we have Preschneider and Marek. VP Gaming, I believe, are sitting third place in the standings at the moment, so we should be. They are certainly ones to watch as this race goes on. So you're looking at the two Renaults, the two banana cars, Preschneider and Marek.
Awesome stuff in the McLarens, AOR Esports. Who are they represented by? It is Hypers and Mateus we have this time around. And I have just been informed that it is sun for both quali and the race. So no rain, no craziness in that respect. And that is absolutely fine. We're seeing people coming out on track now to start their warm-up laps, essentially their sighter laps, 18 minutes qualifying session, as we all know. We all know how this works by now. Who mans the Saubers for Visceral?
For Visceral, we have VSR Muller, currently number 3 on your screen, and number 17 as well, VSR Nameless, the PC Split 2 champion for this season.
Awesome stuff. In the Haas, it is the Comrade Gaming now. It is a team with only 2 drivers on their roster, so it does rather narrow them down. it is Failer and Non-Runner for that particular pair. I'm assuming they're both here because we do have 20, unless they have made a sub. No, there's Jan. Where's the other one? Oh, there he is, 7 and 16. I just had to find them for a moment there, but they are both with us for the Comrade Gaming team. In the Toro Rosso, the Rapid Racing team is who?
We have a double change, I think, from the Rapid Racing team. We have currently sitting P2 on your screen is Rapid Racing Assassin. And then we have a name that I'm going to have a go at pronouncing. Jameuse Monster is currently sitting in P10 on your screen. So the Rapid Racers in the Toro Rosso, Assassin and Monster.
That's as good a pronunciation as I can come up with as well as Jameuse. We'll go with Monster, far easier to say.
Indeed, so.
And that finally leads us to our Force India pairing. It's the official Zen team. Only i7 Zeus and Corny are in the roster, so therefore that is who represents them. Now, everybody bar one out on the Ultra Softs. That one is Assassin, so he's looking to save the Ultras for slightly later on. Oh, Nameless is looking at it. It would seem he's looked like he's got those on. Most people have kind of come out and probably done a bit of a kind of installation lap and come back in. Assassin just starting his. This is obviously that's kind of quieter period of the qualifying. Oh, bit of a problem in Sector 2. That's what we've just seen. The Mercedes pair, I think, just swapping round. Or that was Chromatic coming past one of the Renaults. Yoni Tormela, otherwise known as G2 Topa, or used to be known as G2 Topa, I should say. Back in the day when I commentated on the Manning Split 1 a few seasons ago, is the first man with the time of the ball, 103.390. And Isaac Price with a 105, I think it's fair to say not particularly representative. Tib jumping to the top of the ball with a 103.2. I think it's fair to say these times are going to come tumbling down. No one's going to be pushing too hard at the moment. But last time I was commentating on the Red Bull pair, they got their tyre strategy all wrong. So let's hope that they don't make that mistake here.
Well, they certainly gave us a show. Chembolik Bassi gave us a show last time out in Monaco, coming from, I think, about 14th or 15th, ending up on the podium in the last 10 laps, actually getting the tyre strategy, ironically, spot on, going on those Ultra Softs towards the end of the race. So, tyre strategies are a big one. It'll be interesting to see what the drivers opt for. I would expect, of course, as Kodiak's already mentioned, we are dry in both sessions, so we shouldn't be seeing too many crazy tyre strategies. Ultra Softs to try and get the highest position on the grid slot. And a lot of drivers are doing their installation lap and coming back in, which is interesting to see. Currently looking at Railgon at the moment, so he's just midway through the second sector in that Ferrari. Interesting to see how he gets on, as he's got about 10 seconds to go now, as he comes towards the penultimate corner now, sweeping to the right, and he's about to enter the pit lane, I believe. So that was a massive anticlimax.
It's always tricky for us commentators to know who's going to do that, because we have no idea what's on their mind. Some people choose to carry on going and get another lap in. So Isaac Price has done a couple of laps. He's got a 1:03.466 on the board now, a little bit more representative than he set earlier, but I suspect that is still going to come down a little bit more. But as you can see, most of the field yet to get a time on the board. Lots of people thinking about what they're going to do. Because it's a short lap, there's no particular rush. Spa, for instance, has a much more greater emphasis on get out there and get on with it because it's that much longer, of course. But at the moment, people are taking their time, considering their options. Of course, you have a much bigger prize than just the bragging rights going on. So we'll see who is able to do what as the qualifying session progresses.
Indeed so. So Assassin gets his time on the board, currently in P8 with that 1:05.4. So you can see there is quite a difference between the speeds of the Ultrasofts and the Supersofts. As I say, we should expect the majority of the field to be setting their times on the Ultras. Interesting a little note in the chat saying that Tim's personal best around here is a 1:02.8. So there is quite a bit of time still to be found around this track. So I'm just having a look at Jan Fehler, who is not about to enter the pits. He's coming through the final corner now. Let's see what kind of time he can set on the Ultrasofts for the Comrade Gaming team. Puts himself into 5th with an exactly the same time as Manuel ahead of him in the Ferrari.
To the thousandth of a second. Oh, go on.
Excuse me, sorry, I've seen Zen Corney was facing the wrong way coming out of turn 2. The hairpin just at the top of the hill there. So he's had a bit of a spin or a massive lock up there. So that was interesting to see. That was caused that yellow flag in the middle sector there.
Not the ideal way of taking turn 2. I think everybody is everyone can agree. Now Assassin's got a 1:04.477 on the board. Now he's on the Supersoft tyres, so quite a bit of a speed difference between the Supers and the Ultras at the moment. And he's still going. He's done 3 laps on them. He's fueled up and he's doing a bit of a longer run. So one of the Rapid Racing team thinking of a bit of a contra strategy. They're both the Toro Rosses doing the same thing. So, well, why not, I suppose? Most of the field opting for the Ultrasoft tyres. Give the Supers a try. You never know what could happen. He's finally coming into the pits. His teammate, Monster, is out there at the moment. Oh, and commentator Curse, as the tail of that car's just completely let go. I think on the way down to turn 3. I haven't actually got my map ready. That's what that pause was for. So he's got to be careful about how he comes back on track. He's found a gap, and on he goes. So, yeah, this track is catching a few people out, it seems.
Indeed it is. ERL Hypers just had the first time from the McLaren boy, slotting himself into P6 with a 1:03.6. So you can see 1:03 appears to be the time that people are setting at the moment. But you can see a majority of the drivers are now starting to set some fast laps, or indeed preparing to set some fast laps now as we hit just over 10 minutes to go in the 18-minute session. VP Marek coming in second place. 6 thousandths of a second off the pace of Tino Naukarinen. I said watch out for those VP boys in the Renault, and they're showing me exactly why.
That is a fair effort then from Marek, slotting into second at the moment, 10th ahead of Joni Tomala so far, but plenty of laps still to set. There's a few people yet to get a time on the board. Manuel Biancalila jumping up to with a 1:03.424 up into 4th position. That's a lot of 4s going on in that sentence. The Zen boys are close together, so that's consistency for you. 1:03.614 for i7 Swiss and 6:56 for Corny. So despite the fact that Corny was facing the wrong way for a little bit of that, Mateus in the other McLaren, he's coming out the Supers, so he's left that a little bit late if he's wanted to do an installation lap or doing a contra strategy. That's not what his teammate has done, so that's an interesting one. I've heard it said that if you send your car, if the team sends their cars out on different tyres, such as we're seeing with the McLaren boys, one of you is going to get it wrong. But we will see how they do as Mateus starts his flying lap.
It's interesting. It's showing Supersofts as he's driving round, but on the graphic I've got that he's on Ultrasofts. So I'm not sure what's going on there. On the timing screen, I've got him on Ultrasofts.
I've got him on Supers on both. So we'll see what his time is.
But then I've got him on the. I think he is on Supersofts. I think I've just got a very small graphical glitch there on the timing screen because I've got him on I've got him on super softs on the telemetry, so very strange there indeed.
Not to worry, not to worry. So we'll see then if anybody can break the 103, head into the 102s. Most people back in the pits. Mateus on a hot lap. Non-runner, Chromatic Vito. So the Shazoo boys out there at the moment, getting a lap in. Pracenadia and both of the Toro Rossos also doing their thing. Interesting that, well, it's interesting to me at least, the Toro Rosso pair. Assassin set his time on the Supersoft. It now has an set of Ultras fitted. And Monster is the exact other way round, as Mateus slots in with the 104.242 to slot into 12th.
Indeed. So it will be interesting to see, actually. It was one of the big things that we saw in China, particularly from the Red Bull boys, was going out both at the same time as Chromatic comes in with the new pole time, the 103.253. We saw the Red Bull boys doing a lot of slipstreaming of each other down that long back straight in China. Whether we'll actually see the same thing here, as we do have a couple of long DRS straights here, whether we'll actually see teams doing that slipstream DRS tactic here, I'm not sure. I haven't really seen it in action yet, though. As I say that, the two Mercedes of the Shazoo team are both following each other down as we go braking here into turn 4. So maybe the teams are opting to use that strategy, as Vito looks to be on a fast lap as Chromatic moves out of his way. He's going through at the second sector. Be interesting to see what his times are like compared to his teammate.
Absolutely.
The only telemetry I have is that he was 5 seconds faster than he was previously, and previously he was a 1:10. So that's not very helpful for me at all. But he's coming through the final corner now, opening up the DRS. He's got a Red Bull in front of him that pulls out of the way. What has he set? A 1:3.313. All the ones and the threes. And it must have been invalidated, as of course that would have put him top of the table.
103.312 is what I've got on my screen for him, and he's jumped up into 5th.
So it does. Oh, of course, 312, not 1. I got me 1s and my 3s all the wrong way round.
You're in a bit of a pickle there. But look at that, 4 drivers in the 103.2 range. So that is quite an impressive feat. And again, that is what we come to expect from these top-tier drivers, these guys that are doing... Yeah, the represented the various esports organisations, that they are so close. Again, it being such a short lap, you've got 1.4 seconds separating 1st to 19th. Pracenadia, the only person on the board that doesn't really have a representative lap to speak of, but he is out there. He's going very slowly. I think he must be letting someone through. Oh, there we go. There was one of the Force Indias that just flew past, and he's now got grass on his tires. Oh, there's his teammate. Oh, get out of the way. Oh, he's going to help. Ah, he's doing the slipstreaming trick from Marek. Marek's just come through and started the time. Now he's going to jump out of the way and fly off the track. So Pracenadia was rather sacrificing his opportunity to do another lap there, as he's gone off into the dust. But that's given Marek a bit of a slingshot. Joni Tormala. Oh, look at that. What's that? 5,000 of a second behind Crow in the Red Bull. Now was
very close.
Yeah, no,
sorry, very close indeed, as I was just watching the Visceral boys, who aren't actually doing that well at the moment, but of course it is incredibly close, as Nameless just jumped his teammate, as Isaac Price, 1:3.204. So the Williams boys, once again, showing that all of their drivers are able to put in the top times when they need to. Just under 5 minutes to go, and we have a Williams at the top of the timing screens.
We do, and the other one is only 0.06 of a second behind him, and he's 4th. So that goes to show just how close this is. Less than 4.5 minutes to go. Lots of people in the pits are going to bolt on their last set of tyres and do the banzai, I would imagine. There is Timp. His fuel tank is pretty dry. What's Joni Tormala up to? He's got his pit light on, I think, so he's probably going to be coming in. Yep, his fuel tank is dry as well. The VSR boys, let's have a quick look at Nameless.
Muller's currently on a flying lap at the moment. Nameless has just finished one. Muller looks to be coming through at the final corner. Oh, sorry, not the final corner, penultimate corner. Now he'll come through the final corner.
Ooh.
Both of the... Oh, and he's gone into the pits.
That was a bit of an unusual line there from Muller. But never mind. And Timp's in as well. Crow's coming out, so he wants to get back on that top spot. Still plenty of cars out there. Less than 4 minutes to go, so let's see. Let's watch that time come tumbling down. What's Pracenadia up to? He's the only one that is quite a bit off the pace at the moment. We saw him kind of sacrificing his last lap to try and give Marek a bit of a slingshot. Didn't seem to pay off any, as Marek now down to 5th with the times that we've seen roll in. Here is Preschneider in the Renault. Sweep through that penultimate turn, then down the hill towards turn 10. Keep it legal. Keeps enough of the tyres within the lines. Jumps up to 14th with a 103.666. Number of the beast. Still is now 1.2 seconds that separates now the entire field. So that is unbelievably close to separate all 20 cars. But it's not where you start, it is where you finish that really counts. Less than 3 minutes to go for these guys to get their banzai laps in, and I think now is going to be the time that they're just going to get the tyres on and absolutely floor it. But bear in mind, it is a dry race, and the drivers, of course, will know that. So they've got to kind of balance up burning up the tyres against the strategy that they want to deploy.
Indeed so. We will be seeing a flurry of times being set in the last couple of minutes. There is just over half a second separating the top 17, which is just incredible.
Wow.
At the moment, a lot of drivers out laps at the moment. As I say, we'll have a little bit of a lull, and then probably in the last minute or so, minute and a half, we will start to see pretty much the entire field setting new lap times as they try and get that fight for pole. As Crow, there we go, comes in. We're getting closer to breaking that 1:3 barrier. 1 minute 3.141. Top time from the Shazoo there.
Nicely done. Chromatic jumps up to that top spot. There is Tino. Actually, let's follow Tino through a bit of a hot lap, albeit we're at the end of qualifying, but we'll follow him anyway. Over the line, DRS open. ERS turned up to the maximums. He starts to climb the hill for turn 1. Catches the apex with as much tyres as he dares. Then it is foot to the floor through this twisty section. Turn 2 is in here somewhere. Weirdly, it's this bit. Don't know why. It's not really much of a turn, but that's what my map says. Then heavy on the brakes, using that uphill to slow him down a little bit more through turn 3. It's one of the few times they hit first gear in the entire season. Now the next straight, he's got someone ahead of him. Can't quite see who that is. Weaving his way through turn 4, down through the gears, down to 3rd. A little bit of a lock up on the inside tyre, but nothing too drastic. As Preschneider is retired from the session. He's in 14th, 103.666. He will start no higher than the 14th. Monster is retired as well from the last spot, 104.3. Coming back to Tino then through turn 7 into turn 8. That's one of the Red Bulls. That's Jem Bilabassi on the side of the road. Sweets is retired from 13th position. Sweeping through the penultimate turn down the hill is Tino, going to retain the pole time. He was a little bit wide on that final turn. It was a 103.076. Was it invalid? Yes, it was. That would have been the pole time, but he invalidated it in that final turn. And he will not have time to redo it. Railgon's retired from 11th, 103.564. Oh, what a time to make that mistake.
Indeed so. And just having a look at the top 3, all actually very close to each other. Out on track at the moment. Joni Tormela just going through the middle of Sector 2. He's going to sweep through the left-right chicane and start the final sector now. Joni Tormela currently in 3rd place, a 10th off the pace of Shazoo Crow in the Mercedes. Going through the penultimate corner now. Let's see what he can do. He's going to fly through that final corner. 103.141. It's 1.21 is the time to beat. Joni Tormela cannot beat it. He's still in 4th place. Isaac Price comes over the line, 83 thousandths behind. And wow, a flurry of times being set in the last few minutes in this session. As we said, Jan Fehler, I think, is about to come across the line. He goes into 3rd place. 41 thousandths off the pace. Not quite breaking out of those 1 minute 3s, but so close at the moment. You can see just over half a second is separating almost the entire field.
That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, just 6/10, 1st and 19th. And Joni Tormela had that last lap invalid. And it would have slotted him in 3rd, I believe, 1 thousandths ahead of Jan Fehler, or around that kind of region. It was a 103.16 something. But that would have slotted him around 3rd or 4th. But what an incredible flurry of laps we had. Timp, he was the only one to get a 103.0 as far as I could see. And that was an invalid lap for him. So Marek for VP in the Renault is going to take the top spot. And that's a slightly unusual camera. We don't usually see that one. That's Crow that I've got on my screen. Oh, what an amazing flurry. But what a great effort then from Marek at the death of the qualifying to take the pole.
Indeed. So it's going to be a crazy race if this grid is anything to go by. So we have Marek on pole, Crow 0.02 of a second behind him in second place, Jan Fehler for the Conrad Gaming team, Isaac Price fourth, Yoni Tormana, Timp in sixth. The Williams boys still doing okay, fourth and sixth. Vito the Shazoo in seventh. ERL represented in eighth place with Hypers. Chembolok Bassi ninth for Red Bull. Biancalila ORL just ahead of his teammate Railgun 10th and 11th. The two Zen boys at 12th and 13th. Preshnader, non-runner, and the rest of the grid I missed out there. But it's going to be a fantastic race, as we'll see the full grid in a moment as we ready up for what will be a fantastic Austrian Grand Prix, I am sure.
I have absolutely no doubt. The top four were all, obviously with invalid laps aside, the top four were 0.02 of a part each car. The first to second separated by 0.02, the same back to the next one, and the same back to the next one again. So again, consistency in a slightly unusual fashion being displayed by our guys here as we just wait for people to ready up. I always get a little bit nervous in this little transition because there's certainly nothing I can do as a commentator at this particular stage. So Williams may have been the only winner we've seen on the PC side so far, but it looks like they're going to have some fighting to do this time.
Indeed. So you can just see so many drivers within such a small amount of time. We're going to be seeing different strategies, most likely, of course. The top 10 will all have to start on those Ultra Softs. 11th down to 20th will have the option. It'll be interesting to see now, as we've just loaded up, whether the drivers have decided to make any changes on their tyres. And as we can see, almost everyone from 11th downwards, on at least my screen at least, has opted for the soft tyres besides non-runner.
Yep, I will confirm that is exactly what I see. Non-runner doing the contra strategy, but he's going to have a lot of work to do. I wonder if he was banking on more people doing the same as him, but he's got some work to do to make his strategy work. But then, you never know. We've seen stranger things happen. There's a few areas where, if you do make a mistake, you can fly off the road, but equally, there's some points where the barriers are waiting. My God, that's vigorous weaving from Marek there, and this lovely backwards camera. That's almost that's very disconcerting, actually, when you're looking backwards on a car you're not controlling and it's weaving like that. And who remembers Alonso and Raikkonen being, the McLaren being on top of the Ferrari at that back straight? Lap 1, I think it was, the opening round last season in the real life F1. It was last season or the one before. It was. I remember the incident. I can't remember when it was.
No, it also escapes me as well. But we've seen a vast amount of weaving from the people. Marek's actually lost first place, I think. Crow's overtaken him on the formation lap. So the driver's still battling, despite the fact it is the formation lap. But we can see at the top there are quite a few lone runners for their teams. Marek, of course, his teammate down in 14th, so won't really be able to help him. Crow's teammate in 7th, he's got a bit of work to do. Jan Fehler, his teammate down in 14th. It's only really the Williams boys that have got their team's teammate around them. So it'll be interesting to see whether that will come into play as we run up the hill towards turn 1.
Good point indeed, as the drivers have now reformed on the grid. Here we go. We all know this sequence by now. It is time for the 5 lights. It is time to wind them up and let them go. Who is going to be the boldest on the brakes coming out? Look at the Haas. That's Jan Fehler trying to make a move on the outside towards turn 1. That was Vito that looked like he had a pretty good start. Whoa, big move then from Marek trying to defend from the Mercedes, but Jan Fehler on the outside of the pair of them has taken the lead, but can he hold on to it as they're streaming 3 wide coming up to turn 3? Is the Haas going to win out this one? Whoa, that's chromatic on the inside of the pair of them. Look at this 3. I mean, there's battling going on everywhere. Well, of course there are, but keeping an eye on on the lead battle. That's the view from the Renault, as he's basically just been mugged by Chromatic and Failer. Still side by side coming into turn 4, and the Shazoo Chromatic comes through for Mercedes, and there goes Marek on the inside of Failer, as we already have a penalty on the board, as Non-Runner has got himself 5-second stop go. That won't be conceded because he'll have to serve it. Oh, wow, that was close from Failer into the back of the Renault, but Chromatic, what a stunning effort then in the Mercedes, has got himself a bit of a gap, but I'm sure he won't hang on to it for long. Oh, but Non-Runner, speaking of, he's managed to get up into, well, now up into 12th on those softer tyres and those around him, so he's trying his best to make it work. Chromatic diving straight to the inside line. He wasn't trusting the Renault wouldn't do something on the inside, but he's already got himself a second gap. Nice work by the Mercedes.
Indeed. So just going to have a quick look at the sort of winners and the losers from that start. VSR Muller up 6 places from 19th up to 13th. Non-Runner ahead of him also has gained 3 places. Railgon's dropped 4, as has Zenai Swears. Oh, Railgon has had to make a bit of avoiding action. He's gone on the grass up through turn 1 and that up to turn 2. Sorry, as well. Swears well has been contact between the Force India and the Rapid Racing Toro Rosso there. Somehow they've managed to get themselves going the right way again. But, I mean, I only sort of caught half of that and didn't get the best view. I don't know if you caught that a bit of a better angle than I did, Kodiak.
I saw 7 Sweets as he got onto the grass, and then there was no adhesion left for him, and he spun round and caught Monster as he was trying to recover. And just after that happened, I jumped back up to the lead to see what our front guys are doing. Chromatic is lost half of his lead. He's now back within DRS range, although getting the fastest lap on the board again. He's dangerously close to being out of that DRS range, and now DRS available to our drivers. Crow may have actually done it at the crucial time. No, he's getting DRS opened on the cars behind him, so he's going to have some work to do. Or did he? Oh no, the Renault of Marek did not have DRS off of Chromatic, so Crow did exactly what he needed to do. He did manage to break that all-important seconds gap to the Renault, who's got a lot of defending to do. Jan Failer is trying his hardest to apply the pressure. The two Williams boys close together. Tim behind Isaac Price at the moment. They may just kind of hold station and just wait for the fighting ahead of them to resolve itself. I doubt they're going to fight each other too hard, but at the moment Isaac leads Tim. Then behind is Vito, followed by the Red Bull pair, Yoni Tomla and Jebel Abassi. Then Manbob Biancalida up into 9th, and ERL Hyper's rounding out the top 10. That's the Ultrasoft runners, of course, still together, and Corny is still leading the way on the those that didn't start on the Ultrasoft tires. No, Crow, our race leader, has pushed it too hard. Now, I was warned to have a pen and paper ready, and I completely forgot to tell you, Mr. Allflatious, to grab one, because I was going to ask you to make a note of the penalties, as we may well be seeing a bit of a penalty hotspot here in Austria, but we'll see how our guys do, as it looks like Non-Runner is lost.
That was very strange. I was just on board with him, and he seemed to just slow, and then 2 drivers just flew past him.
He's had a technical problem then, maybe a
Oh yeah, no, yeah, if you go on board with Assassin, he's currently an AI at the moment, so Non-Runner suffering with technical difficulties at the moment. Jan Feder and Isaac Price, I think that was, having a battle for P3, potentially. Maybe not, but it is a lot of battles starting to emerge. Preshnader making a move on VSR Muller, I think, for 12th.
Was indeed our top 10, with the exception of Crow, all within DRS range of one another. You can't even see Crow in that particular camera angle. Oh, you just saw him going out the shot there. Look at this big old train. Of course, all of these guys qualifying on the Ultrasoft tyres, they are likely to ditch them at about lap 7 or 8 at a rough guess for the soft tyres, but you never know who's going to do a contra strategy, as Monster, Railgun and i7 Sweets all coming into the pits, all of them coming out on super soft tyres, interestingly. I don't think
it's going to be pretty close running up the hill towards turn 2. Jan Fehler has the DRS on Marek. He's going to swing to the inside. In that braking for turn 2, is the Haas going to get it slowed down in time? More contact between the two. The Haas making contact with the Renault, and that now leads him. And there we go. Marek loses the place to Isaac as well. And now Tim's going to have a look in the inside as we dive down towards this braking zone. All contact, and there was a bit of front wing loss from VP Marek there. Unfortunately, he's possibly at the behest of Vito now as well. He tries to defend to the inside, keeps the Shazoo behind him, but I do think that's a little bit of front wing loss on that Renault, and there goes the Shazoo. Oh, getting very close between the two of them there. Let's have a look and have a look on board with Vito to see if he can get VP Marek there. He's having a look. Oh, and there's King-Kodiak Allflatious getting in. Oh, Joni Tormola, excuse me, getting involved as well, going round the outside, going side by side through the final corner. Joni Tormola has to back out, but Vito gets on the curb and manages to keep the car on the straight and narrow. King-Kodiak Allflatious now going side by side with his teammate as they approach turn 1 as we start lap 6. Up the inside goes Chem, and that move has been made. Actually, his teammates really lost out on that. He's lost position to Manuel Biancalila as well. ERL Hypers also looking to try and get involved as well as we run up towards turn 2. Marek and Vito going side by side. Chem and Biancalila going side by side. And Joni Tormola now going side by side with Manuel Biancalila as Vito and Marek continue to battle ahead of us. And Joni Tormola slips back into the slipstream of Manuel and goes around the outside. Wonderful helicopter shot I've got on my screen. But Ali can now take a breath as that battle looks to have died down.
Goodness me, it was difficult to know where to look through all of that going on. So in this train we can see it is 5th down to Hypers in 10th. And I've now got that helicam shot. Oh, as King-Kodiak Allflatious gets very, very close to the Renault of Marek at the head of this train. So that is 5th right the way down to 10th in the particular train. Again, side by side, Allflatious and Marek shoved off the road as they came through that penultimate corner. It's Marek is really struggling. He doesn't want to come in out of sequence. Crow is in. So our
our leader has pitted, indeed so.
Interesting.
And that now leaves Jan Fehler without DRS and 2 Williamses very close behind him, who will surely, if not try and make a move at this corner, make a move after the second DRS straight. Isaac Price decides to opt out of making a move up to turn 2, but he's going to have a go surely on the run down this straight, the second DRS straight of the lap. He might not actually be close enough. I don't think he is. Jan Fehler must have had a great run out of turn 2, and no, he keeps the lead for the time being.
Absolutely, but that does look poised to change at any moment. Marek now at the back of this particular train. He's suffering with that damage that he seems to be carrying. As down to 9th, he now falls. Corny is less than a second behind now, bearing in mind that he's a soft runner. So he started on those tyres and therefore is due to be going on quite some time. So that's undoing itself for Marek, and you can see the pace he's losing. Interestingly, he didn't have ERS.
Oh, sorry, a bit of contact between King-Kodiak Allflatious and Biancalila. Vito pitted, which caused Chem to slow down, and now he's in trouble as Biancalila and Chem going side by side as we go into turn 1 at the start of lap 8. And the ORL Ferrari runners managed to get that move done on King-Kodiak Allflatious, and now it's him and his teammates going side by side on the run up towards turn 2. Chem is in the slipstream. Let's have a look. He's had to back out though, and he's possibly in trouble with ERL Hypers here, but no, Hypers has managed to slot back behind him in P7. But Joni Tormola is now going to look to make the move on the Ferrari. They're going side by side. The Red Bull has DRS. The Ferrari doesn't. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two. Big lock up from Joni, and there goes Manuel Biancalila back through to claim P4 once again.
That was well capitalised by Manuel Biancalila there as he shot through when Joni Tormola lost that initial pace he had through turn 4. And look at that, now the soft runners have caught the back of these pack. These guys have burnt the best out of their ultra soft tyres, and now the soft tyre runners are starting to come good. There is Corny and Preschneider and Müller as well. That was Hypers we just saw coming into the pits. Look at this. Marek is an absolute sitting duck. He's got nothing to defend against. There goes Corny diving to the inside. He's just got plenty of rubber left on those tyres. So much later on the brakes, although flies off the road, unfortunately. And Crow getting his name back on the fastest lap board with those fresh super soft tyres. And there goes his teammate Preschneider, as well as the VSR of Müller as well. Is Müller going to try and dive on the second Renault? No, he thinks better of that one. Oh, as Preschneider and Corny come together on the exit of turn 3. But Marek is just falling through the field at an alarming rate. But jumping back up to the top, the top 3 is still in their original positions. I think I just cut away the wrong moment there. Is Corny and Preschneider were side by side. Now Corny and Müller side by side coming through turns 4 and 5. Now into 6, back down the hill again. Oh, the Sauber getting a little bit fidgety coming through 6. Now 7 and 8. Is the Sauber going to try and pressure the Force India into a move? It's pretty brave if he's going to try it.
Oh, Jan Fehler's gone incredibly wide at the penultimate corner. That's going to leave him exposed to Isaac Price as they go down the start-finish straight. And that is a move for position 1. It looks like Tim's going to have a go at trying to get past as well. And indeed he has so. Mistake from Jan Fehler capitalised on by both the Williams boys. And now, as we come to see quite often on this PC tournament. We have a Williams 1-2 at the moment.
As Bianchi-Lille's just lost his position, Yoni Tomlin, Jumbo Labassi on the inside. Oh, how was there room for him to squeeze that Red Bull nose in there? He only just managed to do so, but look at the pack behind as well. Preschneider, Muller, Corny, Marek is falling away from this particular pack, but Bianchi-Lille can't just concentrate on those ahead. Ooh, bit of a lock-up there from the Renault. And the Ferrari then trying to fend off the advances of Jumbo Labassi and Preschneider as well behind. It's difficult to know where to look. Keep saying that, but that's absolutely true. Amazing amount of battling going on. So, yeah, the Williams pair brilliantly capitalising on Jan Fehler's one small mistake, and they both pounce, but they're doing brilliantly well to kind of drag each other along. That's Jumbo Labassi, I think, that's gone slightly wide line, and Bianchi-Lille and Bolabassi in. That's why they were taking that slightly alternate line as they come into the pits to get rid of those offside fronts. I'm stunned the top four are still going on those tyres, but they are making them worse for themselves as the Williams pair are outside of DRS range from Jan Fehler. That looks like Tim overtaking his teammate. Big move on the inside of turn 3. And it did look like Isaac Price just let him go. Isaac may not have wanted to contest that. Going for the safer option, not wanting to collide with your teammate. Is Isaac going to have a crack back at him in turn 4? No, he backs out of that. I think he's just quite happy to follow Tim at this point. Tim winning.
It depends, of course. They're both going to have to pit at different times, so it may well be that Tino jumps in at the end of this lap and Isaac Price comes in the second lap. They have indeed both broke DRS range to Jan Fehler as Railgun picks up another penalty, unfortunately, for him. As we have a look now, Preschneider holding in P5, Muller, Corny. We'll have to see who comes in the pits at the end of this lap. Both of the Williams guys continue on. But Jan Fehler is in.
That's curious. I'd have expected them to be in long before now, but my initial prediction of lap 6 or 7 was completely wrong. Jan Fehler getting rid of those ultra softs. Preschneider leading a small train there of Muller and Corny. And Jan Fehler going on to... I thought he was on super soft for a minute. He's come out of soft tires.
Great little battle going on here for P10 with Marek Matthias and Crow. Marek, of course, we say is struggling on the tyres. I'm surprised he hasn't pitted yet. Still on those ultra softs, but he's lost, I think, a couple of positions there in turn 1. Crow, of course, was originally our leader. He's already pitted once. So maybe the Williams boys are going for the one-stop strategy despite being on the ultra softs. We shall have to see. There's a 10-second gap overall between them and Chromatic.
Well, Crow is on a charge then. You're just seeing him fending off Matthias. Marek is just falling through the field. Non-runner looking to try and do something about it on the inside of turn 6. The house has got much pressure. Oh, Railgun, we've lost him.
Railgun had just caught it. Railgun and Monster had a bit of a coming together, and that's involved with Monster in the grass and Railgun in the wall there. So that's unfortunate as Isaac Price is the first of the Williams boys to pit. Timp and Yoni Tormiller both continue on.
Marek also coming in, our pole sitter, finally choosing now to get rid of those very, very spent ultra soft tyres and probably a new front wing if he was carrying damage. And jump up to Corny for the Zen team in the Force India. You can see Yoni Tomlas 2, Preschneider 3, Muller 4, and we're riding on board with Corny in 5th position as Manuel Bianchi-Lille adds his name to the penalty board. Soft tyres for Marek, that's the last time he wants to see the pit lane. Oh, a bit of a lock-up there from Muller as they come through turn 4. Is Preschneider going to pressure for a move? Surely he's anticipating the Red Bull coming in pretty soon, but he won't want to be held up behind him. He'll want to get past him as soon as he can. Tim surely is going to come in this time. I'm stunned that he's managed to make those ultra softs work as long as he has.
It looks like Tim's coming in. He's taken that inside line. Oh, almost lost it. Wow. Almost losing the car 3 to 4 times, having to put on a great deal of opposite lock just as he comes in the pit lane there. That was a great bit of car control where you didn't normally see car control there, but Tim coming in as we start lap 14. Preschneider in the lead then from Muller, Corny and Crow jumping up into 4th place. Remembering, of course, Chromatic having pitted once already on those super softs, so he should be dramatically faster than the 3 guys ahead of him.
Yeah, but how long can he make them last for? That's going to be the ultimate question. He will want to clear these soft runners as quickly as he can, because it is likely he will need to see the pit lane again. As Tormala and Marek and Timp all bolt on the soft tyres. They don't want to... Oh, sorry, Marek was in last time around. So they won't want to see the pit lane again. Isaac Price. So that didn't work well for Tim. He is now about 3-ish seconds behind his teammate. Bearing in mind they were lying astern beforehand with Jan Fehler right on Isaac Price's tail. That is the view from looking back from Isaac Price, and there is Tim. So he's closing in as quick as he can, but he's got Jan Fehler right in the way. That is not the way that the Williams boys would have wanted it, but still, we're not even halfway through this race, and we've already had a lot of thrills and spills so far, as non-runner adds his name to the penalty board. I'm keeping a very close eye on how Crow manages those super soft tyres. Is he going to try and manage them to the end of the race, or is he going to try and burn them quickly and bolt on maybe another set of ultra soft, maybe another set of supers towards the end? That is what it's going to be. Which game is he going to play?
It may well depend on how he's able to get through these 3 cars in front of him. If he has to really force his way through, then that means he is going to obviously burn his tyres out more quickly, and he may be forced into going into that 2-stop when he may not have wanted to. But the top 3 now are all getting very close with each other, all within 1 second on the road, so it may well be that Crow does have to do a little bit of battling and force his way through this top 3, as they all look to be fighting for that first position at the moment.
4 different teams represented in that top 4 pack. Then the VP squad on the Renault, the Visceral squad in the in the second place Sauber, and the Z squad in the Force India, and then Shazoo in the Mercedes. Chromatic has been gaining on them pretty darn quickly. That's the view from Chromatic. Vito, his teammate, gets on the penalty board. So
he's actually just making a move for P7 at the moment, inside into turn 1. Goes through past non-runner as Joni Tormala picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. And there's Vito, obviously having a similar strategy to his teammate Chromatic, also pitted early and on those super soft tyres.
Wow.
So he's also one to watch as well.
Crow getting very out of shape on the 8 at a 3, now down 4. He's getting his elbows out. He does not want to stay behind this pack at all. He dived on the inside of 4 after really fighting his car on the 8 at a 3. He is pushing hard, so he's definitely going to be one to watch. I suspect he's going to be in the pits again, as unfortunately Monster has had to come in, probably with the carrying damage from that contact with Railgun, so that's not gone well for the Rapid Racer squad in the Toro Rosso. As Aero Hypers gets his name on the penalty board again. But look at this, that's the view from Chromatic. He is staring at the back of Muller, who at the moment is just biding his time behind Preschneider. And look how close, how later he is on the brakes. Of course, that's exactly what you'd imagine from the much fresher super soft tyres. DRS open on the Sauber and on the Mercedes, streaming through. Non-runner in the pits again, so he did 16 laps on those super softs. He was a super soft starter, and Crow getting partially alongside Muller. He's a little too impatient on the gas. You just heard the revs light up and the tail just get a little bit loose. Is he going to dive in the inside of 4? There he goes again. Oh, that was very bullish. He was claiming that corner by hook or by crook. That was his, as he gives Muller a little bit of a shove. No massive contact there, but it was a definite statement of intent. I'm coming through, like it or not. But that's an interesting gauge. 16 laps done on those that started on the super soft. I think it was only the one. I think it was just non-runner that started on them. He's gone on the soft tyres. Of course, he has to change tyre. He can't run super softs again. So I'm not sure that's a great strategy for the non-runner, but it was worth a try. Oh, here comes Crow, though. Great drive from that last corner. He's going to have a look on the inside of 1. No, thinks better of that one. He's going to have a crack on the inside of 3, I'd have thought.
I'm just having a look at P10 at the moment. Isaac Price has caught up to the back of Rapid Racer's Assassin, who is currently on an old set of soft tyres, and he's leading a train of the 2 Williamses and Jan Fehler as well, as they go through up the hill, turn 2, turn 3, whichever one you want to call it. That is Isaac Price going up the inside, and that is Jan Fehler, who's also going to try and follow through as well, as they are all going very wide together out of the turn 2 there up the hill. But Isaac Price has got himself through. Jan Fehler is going to be trying to find his way through as well. Past Assassin, or goes the inside. Assassin tries to defend. They both lock up, and that's allowed Timp to come through as well. And as Assassin has really lost out there, as Timp and Jan Fehler going side by side through this long sweeping left-hander. They're still side by side now as they go through chicane. Tim trying to go round the outside, which will become the inside for this next corner, getting himself a little bit up on the grass. Not going the best camera angle there as they go side by side now as we come towards the pit lane entry. Penultimate corner. Up the inside goes the Williams of Tino Naukarinen, and that is both the Williamses inside the top 10.
Wow, that was a determined drive then from the second Williams driver as to hang on to that spot. He was determined to make it stick, and Jan Fader was determined to make him work for it, which he did. As Assassin has come into the pits, his tyres are done. Whether there was damage as a result of that, it didn't look like there was impact, but he was certainly very, very close. But look right behind Jan Fader, he's got Joni Tomla and Manuel Biancalila for close company as well. Jembo Labasi only a couple of seconds behind that pack. There he is in that shot. So that train is not yet, they haven't finished fighting, I would think. Vito's on the back of Mateus. Now, Vito's got much younger and softer rubber, so you would think he would dispatch with the McLaren fairly well. The soft runners probably have another half a dozen laps or so to go. At a rough guess before they will want to call it a day, but Mateus sticking very much on that inside line. Oh, what a move from Vito. He planned that.
No, it's interesting you say that, Kodiak. Nameless has come in the pits now, and he started on those soft tyres, so probably jumping on a set of super softs to take it to the end of the Grand Prix then, but he has, of course, we saw non-runner making those super softs last 16 laps, so he's bang on 16 laps to go to the end of the Grand Prix.
Very interesting, as we've seen Hypers come past his teammate in that little flurry we've had. That is, I think that's Monster, you can see in the Toro Rosso.
Oh, Jan Fehler and Joni Tomala battling for 10th place. The Red Bull's going to have, well, they both have DRS actually, but Joni Tomala's going to have the slipstream. He's going to pull to the outside line. It's going to be a tough braking zone. Down the hill, contact between the two of them. The Haas and the Red Bull still going side by side. Oh, Joni Tomala, fantastic car control as he gets both rear wheels on the grass. They're able to use opposite lot to keep it on the straight and narrow. Jan Fehler not allowing Joni Tomala through at all.
Crow and Preschneider both in, along with Muller. So it was 19 laps for the soft tyres. I got that prediction completely wrong. I got them all wrong so far. But interesting that Crow's come in. I did think he would have to come in again. So that is going to really shuffle around the order. Vito now takes the lead. Hypers 2. Isaac Price up into 3rd with Tim up to 4th. And then you've got this battle we are looking at. Fehler, Tormana and Biancalila still to resolve itself. So, yeah, there's still strategy to play out as it was the 4th one that came in. Oh, Corny, I think, with the Zen team came in. So, oh, that's a big move from Biancalila on Jan Fehler. Couldn't quite make it work. But that's again a big statement of intent from the Ferrari. He wants to get on with the job. They've got laps still to use up on their soft tyres. You've still got another 15 laps to do. It's a long way to take those soft tyres.
Side by side. Sorry, Kodiak to cut across. Chembolok Bassi going side by side with Chromatic. Chromatic freshly out of the pits. Chembolok Bassi with 10-lap-old soft tyres, and Chem is able to make that move for P8, whilst Chromatic is trying to get some heat into those fresh super soft tyres. So that's a battle for P8. Chembolok Bassi ahead of Crow, but Crow is still trying to go back inside as Chem's going to defend the inside line, almost pushing him inside the pit lane. Then contact is made between the two of them. Chembolok Bassi off the side of the road there, and Chromatic gets the move made as Hypers and Vito both in the pits now, getting off those super soft tyres as the penalty count continues to increase. I'll have to get a notepad out in a minute and start jotting down who's done what. But at the moment, as we can see, it is the two Williams boys at the top of the table. Joni Tomala just behind. Jan Fehler, they're still battling away for 3rd place. Biancalila, and then we have Crow and Chem 6th and 7th.
Wow, still so much fighting to conclude. 15 laps with which to do it. It is really anyone's battle for where they currently sit. Of course, you've got the Williams pair, as mentioned, out there on 8 or 9 lap-hole soft tyres.
Obvious Muller and Chembolok Bassi battling away now for P7 as Bolok Bassi pushes Muller a little bit wide there, almost running into his teammate Nameless behind him. There was a little bit of some feisty action down there for P7. Bolok Bassi starting to struggle now with drivers on much fresher super soft tyres around him, and he has some fairly old soft tyres on that Red Bull. He's probably going to be a bit of a sitting duck now down this front straight as he's not got any DRS to the cars ahead of him. The straight might not be long enough for the Visceral boys to make a move, but as they go through turn 1, which Muller actually takes very, very well indeed, he's going to pull to the outside and have a run at Chem as they go towards turn 2, and he's got it done even before the corner. Is Chem going to have a look and try and dive up the inside? No, he defends Nameless behind him.
Yeah, Nameless is going to wait for his opportunity then. He's going to have a look on the inside of 4, I would think. DRS open for both of them. He's not going to be close enough, but keeps his car very obvious in the mirrors of the Red Bull, keeping the pressure on. The Williams boys just minding their own business. They can't afford to relax too much because there's only 1.3 behind them to Joni Tormela, who carries with him Fela and Bianca Lida. And Crow is actually a little bit on his own, comparatively speaking. He's not got DRS to worry about from Muller behind him. As we again look on board from Nameless chasing Jembo Labassi. But Jem does seem to be struggling a bit with those soft tyres. Although he's had a cracking drive on the exit of that final turn. That's very much going to keep Nameless behind him, certainly into turn 1. Still so much fighting to do. Looks like the Williams pairs have swapped round. Oh, Tim with DRS on the inside of turn 3. Job done. Is Isaac Price going to attack him back? Is there team orders going on at Williams? Now that could be tactical, but if Tim's more confident that he can keep the pace up, bearing in mind there's Joni Tomler, the Red Bull is right there with him. Whoa! And there was Bianca Lida and Jan Fela side by side coming into turn 4. That was very close to them. I looked away just to the point that, look at that, that's Corny and Jembo Labassi side by side as the Force Indy comes through into 9th position. And Matthias and Marek having a bit of a fight at exactly the same point. Both McLarens there looking to pile the pressure on our pole sitter. So it's
a similar situation with Chem at the moment. We can see both of those on an 11-lap-old soft tyres, and both of them are struggling to keep the relevant drivers behind them as Chem Bassi loses another position to Preschnader, and Marek is being swamped by these two McLarens at the moment. How he's able to stay ahead at the moment is actually quite remarkable, as those two McLarens are going to be absolutely swarming all over him as we head now towards turn 1. That is Matthias and Hypers actually almost swapping positions themselves as they're getting so close to the back of the Renault and not quite able to actually find a way through at the moment. Matthias has actually lost a little bit of time as they go through turn 1. But Hypers is going to get very close to the back of Marek, moves to the inside for turn 2. They're going to go side by side in a move that is actually pretty much almost a replica of the lap before. Hypers goes past and has actually pushed Marek a little bit wider out of that corner there. So that's allowed Matthias, his teammate, to also get through as Marek's trying to go around the outside, but he's not quite able to get that done. And that is both ERL cars now past VP Marek, of course, our pole sitter, who, of course, had that front wing damage earlier on in the race, and that is why he's so far down the order now, unfortunately.
Look at the top 3. Joni Tormela has caught the Williams pair. Tim swapped positions with Isaac Price a lap or two ago, and now Joni Tormela for Red Bull is now going to start to bring the fight to the Williams pair. He's not wanting to let them just romp away into the distance. Behind them, Jan Fehler and Bianca Lida still having their battle. The Ferrari driver is going to dive on the inside of the house. That's very close. But Manuel's gone very deep. Can he fend off the house? No! Oh, contact between the two. And well held there by Bianca Lila to keep the car on the straight and narrow as Corny has actually gone past, still side by side with Nameless, but has gone up into that 8th position. He's having quite a strong drive in the Force India, defending into turn 4. Preschnader looking to do something in there as well. That's very, very close. And behind them, Vito and Jembo Labassi. Oh, that's Vito going a little bit onto the dust, managing to keep the car from spinning, but Jem is struggling. He's been on those soft tyres for a while, well, for 15 laps, so there's not a lot of life left in him. I think we're going to see the Red Bull come into the pits fairly soon, but look at this top 3 battle. There's just half a second between each one. So that, if Joni Tomlin just gets right under the wing of Isaac Price.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, Nameless has had a spin at the end of the penultimate corner. So he's now dropping positions. The Visceral driver, that's what caused the yellow flag going through Sector 3. I'm surprised these soft tyres really aren't lasting that long. You can see as Bianca Lila and Jan Fehler are still battling away there for 4th place. But the Williams boys, we've seen the tyres start to struggle after about 15 laps or so. There's still 9 more to go in this race. Are they going to be able to take these soft tyres all the way to the end?
Well, indeed, and will the soft runners be able to? That's another thing. Look how Jem is struggling. Vito is just essentially mugged him on that straight down towards turn 4. Oh, wow, as Jem is defending that with everything he's got left, shoving the Mercedes onto the dust, as one of the Toro Rossos, and so unfortunately not on the same lap as they are, is in that mixture as well. But Crow, bearing in mind he's on much younger super soft rubber, is right on the back of Jan Fehler. He's getting involved in this battle for 4th place with Biancalida and Fehler. You would think that Crow is going to have a great effort to, he's going to have a great amount of speed to come past the pair of them. Coming through turn 1, back up the hill again. DRS open on both Crow and Fehler. It doesn't make a difference as far as Crow's concerned. He's got past Fehler. Can he hold on to it? Oh, what a move! He anticipated Biancalila diving for the racing line, and he's just shot through on the inside. There was huge faith on Crow's part that Biancalila wasn't going to hold on to the inside line of turn 3. That could have gone horribly wrong, but that was brilliantly judged. That was a very hero or zero moment for Chromatic. He's got 3.1 seconds to close up to the lead 3, so this is a very much do or die now for Chromatic.
Indeed so. Joni Tormela now within the DRS range of those two Williams cars, so it is going to get pretty feisty at the top of the race at the moment as we enter the final part now of this Grand Prix. We've just started lap 29. Chromatic has about 3 seconds to close up to Joni Tormela, so he needs to be taking probably about just over half a second a lap if he wants to catch up to them and get a move made. But there's not too much time left in the race now if Chromatic wants to steal the win away from the Williams boys, as Joni Tormela getting so close to the back of Isaac Price.
But there's penalties to play out as well. A lot of penalties are on the board already. I'm pretty sure that Crow is on the penalty board. I, again, forgot to note down what the penalties actually were, as Jem Bulabasi has fallen out of the points now. Says, oh, he's still side by side with Vito, so he may not have done just yet. He may have had the drive he needs to fly past. Actually, he has the Red Bull side by side again with the Mercedes, and once again, Vito finds the grass on the outside of turn 4. Jem defending with his elbows very much out. Hypers is right in there as well, as you can see in the McLaren. So Jem is proving a very tricky customer to try and pass. Corny is on the back of Preschneider. That is battle for 8th position. Then you've got on the back of this 4-way battle of, well, I say Crow is in the battle. What Crow's doing, it looks like he's actually dragging Biancalila and Fehler with him, and potentially Muller. So that train could get very long. Biancalila getting his name on the penalty board again. But that distance, Crow to Joni Tormela, is about to become under 3 seconds, I think, once they come around to the line again. But Crow has just got to push like a complete maniac to close in on the top 3. At the moment, the Williams pair and Joni Tormela don't have too much to worry about. They can bide their time for another lap or so, but it's going to be very, very soon at this rate before Crow is right with them.
Indeed, I'm just having a look actually at the penalties as it stands. At the moment, it looks like both the Williams boys don't actually have any penalties at the moment. They've got a warning each, but no penalties as it stands from either of the Williams boys. I just need to check on Chromatic. I'll get back to you on that, but I'm pretty sure, as you say, Chromatic is on that penalty board. He has indeed. He got 3 seconds on lap 3, so he's at least got 3 seconds on the board at the moment. So that is certainly something to take into account as the race goes on.
So he's got to clear them by 3 seconds if he wants to take the win. And at the moment, at 2.7 behind Joni Tormela. These three aren't particularly fighting. They're not holding each other up. As oh, I've unfortunately lost my co-commentator. Hopefully Nick will be able to rejoin me as the race comes to a close. But goodness, that is amazing. That this strategy still is gonna, you know, we have to wait to the final laps before we know where anybody is going to finish. Jan Fehler, oh goodness me, who was that? That was Muller. That was really wide on turn 4 there. That was such an unusual move there. Maybe he's gone for the dive and it hasn't worked. So Jan Fehler is still on the back of Biancalila, who he's been fighting for so long. And 20 laps on those soft tyres. Biancalila must be struggling to keep his Ferrari on the straight and narrow, as another penalty on the board for Assassin as he's speeding in the pit lane. You can see the amount of opposite lock that Jan Fehler was putting on coming through that penultimate turn. So he is struggling out there at the moment. And that's getting very close up front. Who's that? I thought Biancalida was getting close to someone. It was Jan getting close to Biancalida. And Muller is right there as well. There he is, looking to make this right very interesting. Biancalida parking right in the middle of the road. And there goes Muller on the inside, trying to claim that 6th position from Failer. Can't quite make it work. But he is making a very big statement of intent. Bearing in mind that Muller is on the softer rubber and much younger as well. Jan Failer on the inside of turn 4. He committed to the move way before he got to the braking zone. And back up into 5th is the Haas of Jan Failer. Are you back with me, Mr. Flatchus?
I am with you. My game, unfortunately, full-on crashed just then, so I'm going to try and get back to you. I did manage to get the penalties, though. Both Williams drivers do have one warning. Chromatic has at least 3, potentially 6 seconds worth of penalties, and so there's certainly a lot of penalties for Chromatic. The Williams boys being remarkably well disciplined during this round, with a lot of other drivers around them picking up penalties.
Well, still 4 laps to do. Oh, Biancalida, big oversteer moment. There's not going to be an opportunity for Muller to take that 6th position. There he goes. He's going to have to go the long way around turn 3. Is he going to be able to get that done? Is the Ferrari going to fight him back? Nicely done by Biancalida. Still side by side. Both of them going to have DRS. And that is 6th position in Muller's hands. There's Preishnader in the background looking to do something about it. As Vito and Cembulabassi still fighting, and the Mercedes a long way off the road. As Allflatious rejoins me. Glad to see you back in the session. Look at this, and there's Nameless trying to get involved in that battle as well. That's very close. I mean, this is mainly for kind of honour and bragging rights, and if nothing else, the Mercedes has lost the position to Nameless, and Mateus dives on the inside of turn 6. That was a great move from the McLaren. But Muller is getting very close to Jan Failer as they're coming through the final turns. Again, it's very difficult to know where to look. There's battles absolutely everywhere. It does look like the Crow's march towards the top 3 has sort of stalled. He's down to 2.6 seconds. There he is in the background. I don't think he's going to be able to close in too much more than that in the final laps. But how much rubber do the top 3 have? If a puncture happens, that's going to completely change the order. As Muller has actually gone past Jan Failer. Look at this lot. Still fighting away on board with Biancalida. You can see as Muller actually jumps ahead of Jan Failer. Preishnader up into 7th. It is going off all through this pack, and Corny is not far behind the Force India either.
Indeed, so it's all hotting up as we get towards the end of this Grand Prix. The top 3 still all within a second, but Joni Tuominen not quite able to find his way past the 2 Williamses at the moment.
Still a few laps to do as they come around that penultimate turn down the hill again. It is to start the penultimate lap, lap 35. I wouldn't think Isaac Price is going to attack his teammate. I would think Isaac is poised to play rear gunner to protect against the charging Red Bull. So we'll keep an eye on them to see if that changes. Preishnader is very close to Jan Failer, who's still in striking range of VSR Muller. This is a battle for 5th position. Crow is 3.3 seconds down the road. You can just see him coming through turn 3 at the top of the hill. As Hypers again, another penalty. Big move by Preishnader on the inside of turn 3 as Jan Failer saw that one coming and gave the room for it. And I think Jan's just got nothing left in his tyres because Preishnader has absolutely left him for dead on the exit of that turn. Nicely done in the Renault. He's got Muller in his sights. Both of them on the same.
Some big battling going on down the field for 11th place. Nameless makes a move on Matthias. Cembulabassi and Vito, the Shazoo, are also getting very close behind each other as well. Almost running into the back there of Cembulabassi, but we need to go back towards the top drivers. Looks like Joni Tuominen is actually losing a bit of time now on at those Williams boys. Now a second and a half off the leader as Vito goes into the gravel. Unfortunately for him, it's going to lose some time on that battle then further down the order.
Oh, Jan gets himself a penalty. That's a shame because he's been in that amazing battle for sort of 5th to 7th. Well, he's currently in 7th, but he's been there for a big stint of the race. That's Zen right on his tail. The Force India jumps out from the slipstream and he's going to nail the Haas. The CRG racer of Jan Failer has got very little left in those tyres. I think Biancalida behind him is in a similar position. Preschneider is looking at Muller. Is he going to have to think about it on the inside of turn 4? There he goes. Big move again by Preschneider. Bit of an impact between himself and the Sauber. Now sweeping through 5. Can he get it down into 6? The Sauber has the inside line. That is Muller holding on to that 5th position. But we jump up to the front to see the conclusion of the race. It is another potential, well, I say potential victory. He's only got a couple of corners to go. Here he comes. And that is another win for the Williams pair. Oh, Tim let Isaac through. Tim let Isaac take the win. So your winner here in Austria is Williams Isaac Price, followed by Tino. And then let's just wait for the penalties to sort themselves out. Joni Tomler in 3rd. Preschneider elevated to 4th. Muller 5. Crow, after all that, demoted down to 6th position. Jan 7th. Nameless 8. Hypers 9. And Bianca Lila round. Oh, Bianca Lila had a puncture. I am not surprised after 26 laps on those tyres. So that is how your points paying positions paid off. And Marek on the Ultra Softs. A couple of laps from the end. Our pole sitter finishing in 16th. What a great shame for him. It's just gone horribly. And steals the fastest lap with a 1:48 on the last. And the last car to come across the line is 17th place, 07 Zeus for the Sen squad. What a race that was.
Blimey, if only we had fastest lap points that Marek could take at the end there. Unfortunately, as a little something, as he didn't have a very fortunate race for him this afternoon. But the Williams boys, once again, absolutely dominant in the PC side of this tournament. Very sporting from Timp, of course, to let Isaac across the line there. Sort of reminiscent of the Ferrari boys many years ago. Schumacher and Barrichello, I think it was at the Indianapolis Grand Prix, going side by side across the line, of having both dominated the race there. So a little bit of a nostalgia for anyone that was around back in those days, but a very strong race from the Williams boys there, as we can see. Kodiak, if you want to do the honours and take us through the results.
So there were only a handful of drivers not having a penalty towards the end of the race. It was indeed a Williams 1-2. Isaac Price takes the win. Tim 2. Tormler 3. Preschneider 4. Muller 5. Crow 6. Jan Fader 7. Nameless 8. Hypers 9. Bianca Lida rounds out the top 10. Then Corny 11. Jembo Labassi finishing in 12th in the end for the Red Bull squad. Mateus 13. Non-runner 14. Vito 15. Marek 16. I-70 17. Assassin 18. Monster 19. And Railgon, alas, finding the wall and not seeing the flag. Indeed.
So, what a race indeed. I think shout out to VSR Muller there, starting from, well, shout out, I think, both to both the Visceral boys, to be fair to them. Nameless starting 18th, finishing in 8th place, and Muller starting from 19th and finishing in 5th. So a gain of 14 places there through the race. Very, very well done from him.
Indeed, and that is going to conclude this evening's race. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Allflatious, for joining me. A great pleasure to have you in the box with me again, good sir.
It has been a great pleasure and an honour.
And thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow. Thank you very much to our esports teams, of course, for taking part in this tournament. Quick mention as well, the sign-ups for Season 17. It's a shorter season this time because F1 2019 is a couple of months away, so we're having a 10-race season for season number 17. Sign-ups are open for those on all platforms, so if you want to be involved, you may have lunatics like myself shouting about your on-track antics, but until then, thank you very much. Do come back to us for some more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.